How many tons of paracetamol that you manufacture?
Granules overall capacity of paracetamol goes beyond 30,000 tons. Until the PPA is signed, you are one. Your pace is one. After the PPA is signed, your pace will change. 2026, 2027, if your product carbon footprint doesn't meet the requirement, they will go for a carbon tax.
Between Andhra and Telangana, only from the renewable energy perspective, which is the state would you pick?
The time taken for Telangana to sign GO has taken a long time. Whereas the government in Andhra, I would give a little more mark.
What about your personal vision on renewable energy?
On the coastline, I have my house. 50 years I have seen. The sea has moved about 200 meters inside. See it very, very clearly. The impacts are huge.
2050 net zero, 2030 100% renewable energy, which means no thermal power or no coal power, nothing.
People will demand more and more products which are closer to nature with lower net carbon. So this is going to be there.
You know, apart from the cost, it was showing kind of carbon emissions these flights are emitting, giving me an emotional feel. Okay, let's say even if the price is little higher, so should I go for a carbon emitting or carbon efficient flight? Do you think that kind of mindset will get developed towards a green medicine versus a normal medicine?
Don't make it a practice that, just pop up the pill whenever you feel like. Tendency is we abuse paracetamol.
The paracetamol drug that you consume, do you know how much carbon it emits when it gets manufactured? Do you know the biggest manufacturer of it, Granules India, what are the steps they are taking to ensure that this drug, which is a household drug, does not emit the carbons but gets produced through renewable energy? Not only this, same company is also on the path to go to net zero level from all the angles, be it energy, employees, transportation, water, by 2050. Do you want to know how they want to do it? Do you want to know their year by year or 5 year by 5 year plan? Do you want to know how pharma industry and why pharma industry is switching to renewable energy solutions? Do you want to know what does pharma industry in AP and Telangana wants, especially in Hyderabad, with respect to renewable energy solutions? If answer to each of the questions that I said is yes, then do watch this podcast. Because in this episode of Sustainability Leaders with Gaurav Kawatra, I'm hosting Mr. Raju, 40 years of experience and leading the renewable energy journey for this organization. Granules India started its journey in 1984, 8 manufacturing plants in AP and Telangana, and world's biggest producer of our heartfelt drug, paracetamol. Producing more than 35,000 tons of paracetamol every year, and 1 ton is equal to the weight of a small car. So you can imagine this. I had an insightful, beautiful conversation with Mr. Raju, where he clearly broken down net zero, renewable energy, paracetamol, and I totally loved interacting with. Go ahead, watch this episode till the end. And if you are loving this series of episodes, do subscribe this channel and like this video. This will motivate us to bring more sustainability leaders like Mr. Raju on our channel. Raju sir, 1984, long journey, 8 manufacturing plants, largest exporter of paracetamol API, household drugs. How do you feel being part of such organization, being in the leadership position of such organization?
I feel very excited to be part of this organization, and especially in part of this growth journey which Granules has taken up to a next level, and as a leader in the pharma industry through our vision of our chairman and managing director, Dr. Krishna Prasad Chigurupati. As a result of that vision, we have formed this new company, Granules CZRO Private Limited, which is another growth engine for the company to move to the next level with an exciting challenge to achieve that net zero goal by 2050.
Right.
And that is only possible only when you attack scope 3 emissions. Scope 3 emissions are in the supply chain, which are contributing to 85%.
Raju sir, when you say net zero, what do you mean by it?
Net zero means, say you have emissions from the product which you produce. Whatever product you produce, it has a product carbon footprint. And it is calculated based on scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions as defined under the conventions. Scope 1 and scope 2 are, scope 1 is internal to the company. Scope 2 is energy that is imported from outside. And the scope 3 is related to supply chain. And most of the...
So emissions, like what do you mean, like whatever product that you manufacture, right, emits some carbon to the environment.
Yes.
Okay,
So-
like for example, the paracetamol
Correct.
drug,
See,
which is
for-
a household drug.
Correct. Take an example. You
Okay.
take electricity from the grid.
Right.
That is the scope 2 part of the emissions.
Okay.
When you take it from the grid, the source of that grid power, from where it is coming,
Right.
if it is thermal power,
Right.
then it has an impact on the carbon footprint. And there is so many CO2 equivalents
Right.
that are there per ton. It
Okay.
goes into the product carbon footprint calculation, the amount of power you consume. Similarly, you have your own generation of boiler power internally that comes under scope 1 emissions,
Okay.
where you have a boiler and you are emitting carbon dioxide.
Right. Right.
So it comes as CO2 equivalents per ton
Right.
on the amount of CO2 that you generate and you put it into atmosphere.
Okay.
So as you go forward, the vision is to make sure all these scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions
Right.
are brought under control and to achieve that net carbon zero initiative in the whole value chain,
Right.
not only internal to you,
Right.
but also to the raw materials that you purchase,
Okay.
the logistics that you use,
Right.
including the minor things like the employee logistics, employee commutation,
Okay. Okay.
and how your employee carbon footprint is impacted to the company's product. So it takes into account the total 360 degree of the entire value chain and the stakeholders
Right.
to get to that net zero target.
Okay.
So that's how we have envisioned, and we have already put the plan in place. And as I clearly told you, carbon zero is our intention, is very serious by 2050 that we want to achieve.
Understood. So 2050, we are at 2025.
Yes.
25 years plan.
Yes.
Like, how do you break it down? Let's say if you have to break it down into 5 years plan,
Yes.
let's say by 2030, 35, 40, 45.
Yes.
Like, since you have thought about going net zero, so what is the division of the plan? Do you have any goals which are intermediate, which are like 5 years,
Yes.
so that there is a clear visibility? How can you achieve these plans?
Yes. See, by 2030, the company has fixed its goal very clear that it will be 100% electricity from renewable. That means round the clock green power.
Okay. Okay.
So by 2030,
This is 2030 for all the 8
for
manufacturing
all
plants.
the manufacturing plants.
And this is only India plan you're talking about?
Only India plan.
Okay.
So we are talking about India plan in relation to the Indian context of 2050 also.
Okay.
Because,
Understood.
we are in sync with the country's national policy of net zero.
Okay.
So, to achieve this 2030, 100% electricity renewable, we have a clear path.
Okay.
We have already embarked on that journey.
Right.
We have gone into green power under open access,
Right.
as well as installed rooftop solar.
Right.
And now we are taking a major step by getting into group captive,
Okay.
in which your involvement, you are part of our team
Right.
to make sure that the granules journey
Right.
is achieved.
Right.
And you are also part of the granules journey now
Right.
to make sure granules achieves the target of 2030
Right.
for 100% green power.
Right.
So we have 3 phases. First phase we have done rooftop solar, open access. Now we are going to group captive. Then the 4th phase is the round the clock green power,
Right.
which we are very confident that we will be able to achieve it by 2030.
Right.
So that's how the plan of action for 2030.
Understood. Understood.
Now coming to 2050 question which you have asked, how we have planned for 2050. The concept has been made already
Okay.
through the Granules CZRO route,
Right.
where
Right.
the 80% of the carbon footprint is on account of materials that are imported,
Okay.
materials that are used as raw materials in the company to produce the medicine.
Understood.
So we at CZRO are involved into developing green technologies
Okay.
making sure the materials which the current company Granules India Limited is using for its APIs and formulation to come down to a net carbon zero level.
Okay.
From the chemical input point of view,
Okay.
that will add to the reduction of, ultimately to the reduction of the API's carbon footprint.
Understood.
So that is where the journey of C0, the Granules CZRO has started.
Okay.
And we have started developing technologies which are going to be green for this particular venture. And we would create a path for 2050 to achieve net zero very clearly through this path where the supply chain part is taken care by Granules CZRO. Granules India is taking care of the 100% electricity by 2030, and all other internal product carbon footprint issues like any boilers, chillers, you have all utility equipment, all the kinds of utility equipment which are more carbon intensive. They are converting parallelly to a carbon zero initiative process. So
Raju sir, if I have to ask you, I'm very curious to know, you said 2050 net zero, 2030 100% renewable energy, which means no thermal power or no coal power, nothing, right? And you are very clear about it.
Correct.
Okay, so this is a plan, right? So tell me, give me an example or a case study or a walkthrough. How do you track it in your boardroom, right? For example, how serious is this plan? How frequently these discussions happen? I know you are leading this in your organization, but how frequently this discussion happen, and what are the key parameters that you track to make sure that this achieves on time with quality, and you are able to prove it that, okay, my 100% RE plan is real?
So in one line, if I may say, it is achieved through the ESG goals of the company and the sustainability goals of the company.
Okay.
Every year, there is a KPI which is fixed by the company.
Okay. And what is that KPI level called?
ESG goals.
ESG goals. Okay.
Under the ESG goals,
right,
these targets, whatever we have taken, we have, brought down into pieces to achieve 2030. What are the pieces that have to be done every year?
Okay. So do you track it daily?
Absolutely. It's a track which is daily target is from the department managers.
Okay.
Quarterly board reviews.
Okay.
Or where are we on the ESG goals?
Okay.
Reviewed at the board level. And any corrections that have to be done also are communicated from the board down the line.
Okay.
And every year our strategy and sustainability department, which is a separate focused department which is existing with us.
Okay.
They have a team of people who keep monitoring where are we, how are we maintaining these goals, are we moving towards that goal. So there is a team.
Okay.
There is a board level review.
Okay.
There is a goal that is fixed every year.
Okay.
And a quarterly monitoring. So you have a complete governance mechanism around the ESG goals. So that shows the seriousness of the company.
Understood. And can you take me through the day or the time when it's germinated, when you or someone in the organization thought, okay, I want to go net zero or I want to go 100% renewable energy. What was that day? How were you feeling that day? And how was that day look like? And what was the biggest motivation behind it? Is it like saving the cost, or is it a pressure from the customers, or is it like love for the environment? What was the biggest driver?
See, for me personally, when I met this chairman, Dr. Krishna Prasad, which I told you.
And this was when?
2022, when I met him first.
Okay.
I had a first interaction with him.
Okay.
Understanding what was his vision.
Understood.
So that was the moment that I thought this company has a very clear-cut path towards net carbon zero vision of 2050. And we had a long interaction with him. He has explained his vision of green medicine, which I told you. Ultimately, his vision is to have green medicine.
Okay, this is interesting.
So in line to the journey, what are all the various prospects that are going to come up and how the world is changing
Okay.
and how you see the commitment of the people towards the green technologies
Right.
all over the world.
Right.
Plus our passion of our chairman
Right.
to make everything green.
Right.
Whatever we produce, whatever we do, we should have.
But what is the biggest driver? Okay,
The
green
driver
medicine,
is the,
cost.
ultimately, it is the green medicine.
Okay.
Now, the second driver is, of course, the market.
Okay. What do you mean by market? Like
Market is suppose.
you mean
say,
customers?
Customers.
Okay.
Customers have also fixed. Suppose I am supplying a material to an ex-customer.
Okay.
He has also fixed his goals of net zero.
All right.
Suppose say I am exporting some material to Europe. This company in Europe is already having a goal of net zero
Right.
for 2030. Or
And you are their
2040,
supplier.
And I am their supplier. Unless I become net zero, he can never become net zero. Unless I reduce my product carbon footprint,
Very good.
He cannot show his product
Right.
carbon. So
Right.
it is all interlinked that
Right.
you have to have. So granules, if they want to be net zero, Granules CZRO has to be net zero.
Which is your
to
company,
produce,
the
which
company
is
that you
the
lead.
subsidiary company of
Right.
Granules.
Right.
And this company has to give the raw material to Granules India to make it net zero. So it is a complete chain which has to go to the bottommost level
Okay.
ultimately if we have to achieve net zero.
Right.
There are still challenges. There are certain areas where we have to find solutions, and we are working on those solutions now. And we are confident and hopeful that shortly we will find solutions to major challenges in the whole value chain. Value chain is the biggest challenge for the green.
Right. Raju sir, I was doing a podcast, the previous podcast, and there was a leader like yourself on that podcast, and they had 70% of their revenue coming from the customers, 3 customers. And all these 3 customers are like marquee customers, and they mandated that each of the vendor or each of the supplier who is working with us, either they get net zero or RE100 by 2027, or they will get blacklisted. Right, which means they cannot even sell the product to them. Is this also, that is something that you are also experiencing?
Yeah, we are also experiencing with certain customers.
Certain customers, and they are like
basically the net zero journey, as I told you, one of the drivers is the customer also. Apart from the passion of our chairman, which I have already told you.
Right.
So it is driven by the customer. It is driven by our passion to contribute to the nature.
Right.
And to make sure that we are the leaders in the pharma.
Okay.
To see that our carbon footprint reduction process is much faster.
Okay.
And we would like to take these concepts forward as a benchmark.
Understood. So, Raju sir, everyone knows Granules because of Paracetamol, household drugs, largest exporter, and then second one is obviously the Metformin, sorry,
Metformin
just to correct it, and which is a diabetic drug. So, can you give me some key interesting facts? How many tons of paracetamol that you manufacture? If someone has to imagine how many cars it looks like or how many ships it look like, just to get an idea, because this is like a household drug.
Correct. See, if you take a normal drug, here Granules overall capacity of paracetamol goes beyond 30,000 tons.
30,000 tons.
Just imagine the volume of paracetamol that is produced.
Right. One car is 1 ton?
140 tons containers.
Okay.
For 1 ton, one container is about 40 tons, which will go to the export markets as well as for the domestic markets. So it is huge volumes.
Right.
So that is where Granules, the USP of Granules is there in paracetamol and metformin.
Right.
That is also a drug which is a bulk marketed drug. But apart from this, the formulations thrust is also there in Granules. Apart from this bulk, there is a formulations thrust. There are specialty drugs thrust is also there. So we have a multiple areas that Granules want to expand now.
Hmm.
And of course, with a final objective, very clear, 2050, whatever our growth journey is there, how do we make sure that the 2050 target is met?
Right.
So this is how we are planning to achieve these targets. And
Okay.
we have a very clear plan.
Raju sir, if I ask you the 100% renewable energy goal by 2030, and you know the states in which you have projects, AP and Telangana, except recently they were, not very pro to renewable energy in versus any other neighboring state like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, right? And it is now opening up, which is a very good sign. So let's say if you have to tell today three things to, let's say, the top leadership of Telangana government or the Andhra government, what are the three things that you want to tell them? Or three suggestions that you want to give them so that the ecosystem opens up for everyone in Hyderabad, Telangana and Andhra to go green and procure renewable energy power. So what are the three things? Anything that comes to your mind?
See, the most important is hearing what the industry wants.
Okay.
First is very important is the government has to hear
Right.
what the industry needs.
Okay.
Second, policy should not waver. So policy guidelines should not be wavering from time to time.
Okay. So what is there?
Stability of policy.
Stability of policy. Okay.
Very important is stability of policy. Third is flexibility in policy.
Okay.
Suppose if an industry wants to come in
Right.
and they want some flexibility,
Right.
the government should realize the facts and the merits and understand how that industry has to be encouraged
Okay.
rather than bureaucratic about it.
Right. So now both the states have already come up with fantastic renewable energy plans. There are integrated renewable energy policies already in place. So you, let's say if you're representing Granules and the entire pharma industry, right, reading that, is there any one thing that you want to tell them to change, to modify, or to applaud them as well, whatever?
See, firstly, I would applaud them
Okay.
because they have come out with a very
Absolutely.
forthright policies
Absolutely.
now. We have
No
to
doubt about
applaud.
it.
There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
All of us are going through that policy
Okay.
implementation now.
Okay.
So we should wait for some time before I should comment on what
Okay.
improvement that we can bring in and we can tell the government.
Okay.
So we should watch how the execution of this policy will take place
Okay.
and how serious the government is
Okay.
on executing whatever that is said in the policy.
Right.
So that is where between the what you say, having the pudding and eating the pudding.
Right.
So you need to understand a little more on that, and
Okay.
based on that, we will be able to comment because
Right.
it is very early. Because
Right.
it's just about 6 months back.
6 months
Andhra,
back, right.
And just about 1 month or 2 weeks back.
Right.
Only the
But
G
you
was-
are bullish
we
on
are
this.
bullish on the policy, so that's why I'm saying that we should appreciate first
Right.
that they have come out with a very good policy now.
Right.
So industry has to go through it,
Right.
understand the depth of it,
Right.
and then come out with good suggestions that the government can take it forward.
Okay.
So
Understood.
I would wait for some time to
Understood.
react on that for any improvement on that policy.
Understood. And somewhere, I think during the conversation that you mentioned that other than some rooftop solar, some open access, and then you have experienced IREX as well. So how has been your experience buying IREX? Does it really help you meet renewable energy goals? I know they are not cost-saving solutions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are the challenges that you face? Is this a product that you
challenge
would advise other leaders to look at, or what is your opinion, or it's like a short gap arrangement?
See, it's all dependent on company to company's goals.
Okay.
What you are saying is a short gap arrangement.
Right.
So for some companies, you have given a vision that I want to be 50% RE power by so and so.
Okay.
I will have a shortfall.
Okay.
So I want to buy IREX, and see that I complete that 50% target.
Okay.
But that may not be acceptable to many of the customers. Some of the customers may not accept the IREX purchase as a complete green.
Does that happen?
Sometimes some
And
of
it's
the
like
customers,
from which country?
some Europe and all this. Some of the customers,
And what is the biggest argument that they make?
they make that the company's commitment on putting investment into this one, into
right,
green power,
right,
is
right.
more of a commitment rather than this commitment.
Right. So
that
they
is an area.
basically want skin in the game,
Absolutely.
right? These are just credits.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
that is the kind of approach which I have seen with some of our customers.
Okay.
We would like to go with the group captive
Okay.
and put more skin in the game in the RE power.
Absolutely.
sector.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is our path we have chosen.
Okay.
So-
But this is very interesting fact that has come out because IREX is kind of a short gap, matlab, it's not, it's more of a credit.
Correct.
It's more of a paper
Correct.
than a real investment into
Absolutely.
renewable energy, and the customers actually are aware about it.
Absolutely, and customers are aware about it. Customers are aware about it, and some of them are not. Some of them are okay with it because
Okay.
some of the customers are okay with it, but some of the customers insist that your skin in the game should be higher.
Okay, understood. Did you already disclose your customers that you're already on the journey of RE100?
ESG goal, whatever is our target, July 26, we have to be 100%. The renewable power phase 1 target has to be completed.
Okay.
The, say 60% minimum,
Okay.
68%. I think we have kept as a replacement target
Right.
for power by July 26. This is the current year's goal
Okay.
in the KPI.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah, July 26. So
Raju sir, imagine July 2026, you are standing in front of your manufacturing facility, the first renewable energy power come to your plant and first batch of paracetamol getting produced from renewable energy. How would you feel?
it gives great pride
Okay.
and a great satisfaction.
So would you
that
call
your
that
contribution to that?
as green medicine?
Absolutely. So if you buy a paracetamol in the market, if it is marketed by so and so person, I would say if you are buying this paracetamol's product carbon footprint is so much. And we are looking at even printing that
On
into
the-
system,
okay.
on the label.
On the
But,
label.
It will take long time to regulatory approvals, etc.
Oh,
Yeah.
understood. So do you think the customer, like the household customer will, find it valuable? For example, when you travel airlines, right? Like for example, I was traveling to Dubai and I was looking at through Skyscanner, and it was, apart from the cost, it was showing the kind of carbon emissions these flights are emitting. Not emitting at the same level. They're operating at a different technology. So it was like giving me an emotional feel. Okay, let's say even if the price is little higher, so should I go for a carbon emitting or carbon efficient flight? So do you think that kind of mindset will get developed, let's say towards a green medicine versus a normal medicine?
Yes. Today, that mindset problem is there across.
Okay.
And there are certain European markets which are setting up carbon tax
Okay.
for the imports.
Understood.
They have given certain carbon tax targets by so and so year, 2026, 2027. If your product carbon footprint doesn't meet the requirements, they will go for a carbon tax. If you are importing to that country, if you are net carbon zero by that time, and if you are exporting to that country, you get a premium price. So that means your
Is this
competitor-
already in place?
No, it is already in place. It is
Okay.
already announced by European Union.
Like, can you give me example? I'm very curious on
There
this.
is a carbon tax. You just
Okay.
have to Google it. EU carbon tax policy.
Which means, let's say, if there is a 100 rupees product
Correct.
or a 100 euro product, and if it is through greener power, right?
So they have fixed a guideline.
Okay.
What do they mean by green? What do they mean by this?
Okay,
And if that doesn't fall under that category, they will go for a carbon tax.
understood. Which means that 100 rupees might be 120, 140, and which makes it uncompetitive for.
Absolutely. So people who take these steps now will be more competitive. People who would not take these steps will become less competitive.
Right.
So this is but the other side of the coin is US coming in saying that we don't care.
Right.
We don't care for
After
any
this
carbon.
recent
After the recent
Donald Trump comment
So
change.
that
Yeah.
also has impact on the world. It will not, drop the momentum, but will slow the momentum in the world.
But are you experiencing, because US is very big market for you?
Yeah. We
Right. So are you experiencing that there is?
We are experiencing
Okay, how?
it. We are experiencing it that, we are waiting and watching, because what is the announcement and what is the actual law, rule which is changing.
Okay.
We have to wait and watch.
Okay.
But today that can be having an impact. The path which the green system or the green culture that is going in the world at a particular pace it was moving.
Right.
That pace will slightly slow down based on how the ground situation in US is.
Okay.
So it will slow down a bit, but once the path is the ball is rolling, it is not going to stop. Because the whole world understands the impact of net zero targets and what, as a citizen of the world, what you have to do and what you can contribute.
Understood.
I think people understand it very well.
Right.
So over a period of time, long term, this journey will progress.
Okay.
And the people will demand more and more products which are closer to nature with lower net carbon footprint.
Right. And what is your favorite, like, in terms of, there are a lot of innovation happening in renewable energy technology side. Erstwhile it was like solar, and even before that it was only wind. Now there is a hybrid solar plus wind. Now there is solar plus wind plus storage solutions. Then people are talking about green hydrogen. What is your, viewpoint? Like by 2030, if it is 100%, how does like mix looks like for you?
Ultimately, it is a combination of all the solutions that will come in. Because just about 2 years back, we have never thought of a battery storage solution.
Right.
Per megawatt, it used to be 6-7 crores.
Right.
And today they are talking about 1 crore.
Right.
So the whole industry is changing. The complete patterns are changing. So it will not be far.
Right.
When you see this renewable energy coming in the round the clock model.
Right.
With various hybrid models, including pump storage, battery storage, geothermal storage, underground storage.
Right.
Even including the ceramic plates and all this, that technologies are also coming up now. So there is huge amounts of heat sinks that are going to be created.
Okay.
Those heat sinks will be used in the nights.
But for granules, what are you visualizing?
So
let's say by 2030.
Currently we are visualizing very clearly. We have plans for solar, wind.
Okay.
Battery storage and pump storage.
Okay. So this is the combination that looks likely
that is the combination likely.
And this will take you to 100%?
It will take to 100%.
This will take you to 100%. Okay.
Apart from this, we are looking at the hydrogen area.
Okay.
If suppose as a plan B, this is not adequate.
Right.
So the green hydrogen production and how the energy can be utilized from the green hydrogen.
Okay.
So that can be used as a green energy to supplement in case of a 100% shortfall.
Okay.
So if at all there is a shortfall, but by the time we are clearly seeing that the infrastructure is going to develop with battery storage technologies and pump storage technologies, which are going to mature.
Right.
In the next 2-3 years, I think a lot of maturity will come in.
Right.
So we should be able to get there.
So one of the another biggest advantage that renewable energy brings in is also the cost saving, right? Which cannot be neglected. Even let's say you are buying at 7 rupees, it will cost you 5 rupees, so 2 rupees, 2.5 rupees costing. And let's say for companies like yourself, if it is a huge cost curve for you, that brings a lot of competitiveness, right? So when this brings in the competitiveness, do you also pass through this to the customer? For example, let's say, or customer demands that, like, have you experienced such thing? I know the path is early for you, but still.
See, as you go in the green journey, it doesn't mean that only the power cost you are reducing it and you are able to pass it on to the customer.
Okay.
In the green journey, when you develop your green chemicals, the cost of production of those green chemicals is higher. Because of the various technologies that you use.
Other than the renewable energy.
Other than the renewable. Because you have to use biotechnologies.
Right.
You have to use bio routes which are more risk oriented.
Right.
You have to use sustainable routes which
Right.
are more risk oriented.
Right.
And the cost of productions are generally higher because
Right.
these technologies are completely ground. They are very well established. Current technologies.
Right.
When you get into green technologies to produce products, your cost of production is always a challenge. But that challenge can be converted into opportunity
Right.
by continuously improving and seeing what can be done to
Okay.
utilize the byproducts,
Okay.
circular economy.
Right.
So those areas are what we are looking at to make sure how we can still be competitive
Right.
and produce net carbon zero product.
Okay.
On one side, the power can be lower.
Right.
The other side, the other materials can be higher.
Right.
But even in the net off, you can't be in the market saying that I am high up by so and so percentage and you come and buy my product.
Right.
So competition is competition.
Okay.
You have to be in competition and
Right.
you have to see, everybody will not believe whether this product is today like organic product. Some of us will take organic product.
Right.
But some of us they do think that this fellow, whether he is producing organic, why should I buy organic product? I will go to some other product. So then this certification framework will have to come.
Right.
So somebody has to certify you and credibility of that certification process.
Right.
So all that infrastructure, everything has to happen over a period of time. Then you get your premium.
Right.
Till such time, if you are the first entry with your own commitment, you are going forward. You are putting it into the market.
Right.
You have to compete in the market.
Right.
So your technologies have to be close enough. So power can reduce your cost of production, but other areas will increase.
Right. Right.
So there I see very clearly, personally from my experience and the technology development of green products, net cost of production is going up higher. And we are looking at a premium in the market because as you rightly said, if you want to buy part of the segment, you want to focus
Right.
where there is a premium segment.
Right.
Part of the segment, we will compete along with any other. So part of the segments, like where this consciousness is very high, so you concentrate there and you market there with a premium.
Okay.
So
Understood.
a strategy has to be, mixed strategy has to be there for certain period of time before the whole world matures in understanding the implications, and then you can go into this.
So today when you export, let's say, tons of paracetamol to European market, US market, multiple containers going out, does container also talk about like how many carbon emissions? You have to mention it on the container?
Absolutely.
And
Not
does
on
it
the
get
container.
like, not
You
like
don't
that?
have to mention on the container, but you see the.
But let's say
the
it's
vehicle,
landing at a port.
The vehicle which is carrying the container
Okay.
has to be a battery operated vehicle.
Right.
If it is really green product that you are, so whole logistics part of it has to be completely green.
Okay.
And any metal you use also, source of the metal should be green.
Okay.
So a steel plant producing steel and you are buying a steel from one of the plants in the project.
Right.
To build a container.
Right.
If you want to transport that container.
Right.
Your own container.
Right.
So that container manufacturing also has to be green.
Okay.
So ultimate, that is net carbon zero.
Understood.
Net
Understood.
carbon zero is not just this one that you say whatever your material you are taking is completely zero.
Understood. Understood.
So you will have to have the entire supply chain, including the projects which you build in future. You will have to arrive at the carbon footprint of those products which you buy, including engineering materials.
Okay.
And people have to go towards that kind of a commitment from the suppliers who are supplying to you. Ultimately, it will happen to even the engineering product like centrifuges, like your heaters, like your exchangers, your vessels, whatever you do, what is he doing, what is his carbon footprint.
Okay.
If you understand that completely,
right,
then your goal is nearer.
Right.
You will move towards the goal of net carbon zero. So it is encompassing the entire thing which you touch as a company.
Okay.
Whether that what is its carbon footprint. So
Okay.
it is simple as that. Whatever you touch, whether it is carbon footprint. This
Understood.
paper, including paper.
Understood.
Including this paper, we have decided at a point of time, no paper will be purchased unless at a particular point of time, we will take a decision. It has to be from a recyclable source.
Okay. Understood.
It has to have a product carbon footprint which is close to zero. That means if this paper is recycled back, and then you have a policy in the company that I will buy paper only from this, and a certified recyclable paper having a carbon footprint of so and so.
Understood. Understood.
So that is how you should move towards the vision.
So Raju sir, the pressure from customers, pressure from countries, then it brings a competitiveness, then your leadership vision on taking care of environment. What about your personal vision on renewable energy? Like, this is all the ecosystem, but you also have some, as an individual, the love for the environment, or what is your take personally, irrespective of the organization or irrespective of the ecosystem on sustainability and the contribution of renewable energy in the sustainability?
See, personally, I strongly believe that we should reduce the global warming.
Okay.
I can see myself personally how the sea levels have gone up.
Okay.
The sea coming forward, the sea coasts which were there 50 years back, I have witnessed to seeing the sea moving 100 meters before, forward. The sea is
Which,
coming.
like Andhra coastline?
Andhra coastline.
Okay.
I stay on the coastline in
Which place?
Vizag.
Okay, Vizag.
On the coastline, I have my house.
Okay.
50 years I have seen. The sea has moved about 200 meters inside. It used to be behind by 200 meters.
Right.
It has moved inside by 200 meters. You
Right.
can see it very, very clearly. The
Right.
impacts are huge.
Right.
If you can see within your lifetime,
Absolutely.
just imagine in generations what will happen.
Right. We are seeing it in Delhi.
Soil will erode completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, personally, every one of us, I strongly believe that we have to commit ourselves to this journey, and we should see whatever contribution we as an individual can make, as a personal leader you can make,
Right.
and you can influence
Right.
the companies where you are working.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You should do to the bit, your bit, you should do it as a leader
Right.
and contribute towards the entire world.
Right. Raju sir, I just want to ask you few household questions. Like, if you have to change something, how people view paracetamol, anything that you want to change?
As long as paracetamol is what it is, or the product what it is, only to the household area is don't use it, don't abuse it.
Okay.
So normally tendency is we abuse paracetamol.
Okay.
But at the same time, when the need is there, definitely the drug is there.
Right.
But don't make it a practice that, just pop up the pill
Right.
whenever you feel like.
Right.
So that's the message I can give. Otherwise, it's good drug. It's
Right.
a fantastic one, and it keeps you alive and kicking.
Right.
That's it.
So if paracetamol is a passport, how many visas of how many countries of visas it is having right now, or it should have?
It should have all over the world.
All over the world?
Yes, all over the world.
None of the country
No, there is no country in the world where paracetamol is not used.
manufactured by Granules?
Manufactured by Granules, of course, we want to be there in all parts of the world. And definitely we are there in most parts of the world. But yes, if you really ask that question, the entire world is the market for paracetamol and for Granules, and we would like to be there for the entire world.
Can you help me imagine a day that you stop manufacturing paracetamol only for a day? How would world look like that day? What impact it will have on the world?
One day doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Or 2
One
days,
day
3 days?
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
2-3 days, yes, it matters.
It matters.
Seen in the COVID.
Yeah, that's what I want
We
to know.
have seen in the COVID, the moment the productions have dropped by 10 days, there is a huge amount of panic that
Okay.
has been created.
Okay.
And a sudden demand that has come into paracetamol, and people have come to that occasion. All the companies who have produced paracetamol, they have increased their productions to make sure they meet, even if the people were not available to produce, they were meeting the targets of the world. So
Right.
world targets are being met by the same companies.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
shortfall has also been seen, meeting targets is also seen, and excess is also seen. So you have all three conditions in the world.
Right.
So I think the world will be safe. No issues as far as paracetamol. Even if one person doesn't produce for about 20-30 days, it will get balanced by other producers.
Other producers.
And world will get it, but it will be a slight at a price.
Okay.
But it's only a temporary phenomena, so it will get adjusted.
It'll get it. Okay. So let's say I don't know how much it cost. Let's say a strip cost 30 rupees of a paracetamol, right? I'm just thinking from a household perspective that if it costs 30 rupees, how much do you think a percentage of this, or how much of this 30 rupees is the power cost to produce it?
That I'll not be able to share with you.
Achha, you
right
cannot
now
share
in
it.
a public forum.
Okay.
But yes, maybe separately we can discuss.
Okay, understood. So that's a different fact.
Yes.
Okay, because right now, like if I have to ask you emotionally, not logically,
Right.
on one side, you are manufacturing a drug or API,
Yes.
which is probably one of the world's first or second largest exporter that you have, right? And that makes you feel proud manufacturing this drug, and this is the need, right? Everyone needs it. I have a lot of emotion attached to paracetamol, right? It's not a drug for me.
Yeah.
It's emotion for me, right? So same way, on one side, it's like a household emotionally attached medicine, and second, as a leader, okay, while it is getting produced, it is emitting carbons to the market as well. So how does it make you feel emotionally today?
See, today, if you see the emotional feel
Right.
as an individual, as a person,
Right.
to be attached to a company which is producing bulk paracetamol to this extent, I feel very proud of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That you are part of the households,
Right.
and you should feel proud of it.
Right.
That's how it is, and
Right.
definitely there's a lot of pride for the company also. Company also built its paracetamol capacity
Absolutely.
over a period of
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
to this stage.
Right.
And thanks to, again, the vision of our chairman,
Absolutely.
who has worked on it
Right.
completely and established this kind of capacities.
Right. Right.
So, hats off to him.
Right.
And as far as emotional attachment is there, yes, of course, we are very much emotionally
Right.
attached to it.
Right. But like parallelly, it is getting, when it is getting manufactured, right, it is emitting carbons as well. So does that also emotionally hit you?
Yeah. So that is the reason why the company has taken a clear call of
Yes.
this net zero.
Right.
So how I can make this medicine green? So that is the chairman's vision. So how you have to make the green medicine? You have to get into green chemistry. You have to green technology.
Right.
Because chemistry, after chemistry is technology.
Right.
Then green technology, then green product.
Absolutely.
And then that green product should come to the pharma company as a raw material.
Right.
And then it gets converted into API as a green product.
Right.
So this whole value chain has been clearly, as a company, we have visualized what is to be done to make paracetamol completely green.
Understood.
So that's how it is, and we are working on that. The day I can see that I have created this, power is flowing,
Right.
and this model is going to work for the next 10 years or 15 years
Right.
without me being in the organization. If that is succeeds, then that is the emotional
Right.
tip-off
Right.
that you can really
Right.
have, saying that yes, you have contributed something.
Right. Like Raju sir, would you have goosebumps that day?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We should.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
So, and then internally, like there are many leaders, like you have a significant role to play. You've taken Granules to a renewable energy journey, right? Which is a very important responsibility on your shoulder, right? So, how does it make you feel between the team then?
Firstly, it is highly exciting to be part of this team of
Okay.
in this journey,
Hmm.
and that too at the leadership level,
Right.
because here everyone in the team will have their own opinions, their own ideas.
Right.
So you need to bring in all the team members to a common goal
Right.
and to make sure that you hear them out.
Right.
You hear their challenges which
Right.
they see.
Right.
And you as Infinia has that responsibility to make sure
Right.
that all those challenges are addressed and we get the best out of the solution
Right.
that we are going ahead with.
Right.
The day when everyone in the organization feels, yes, we have got the best choice,
Right.
that would be the day which we will feel very proud about.
Okay. Understood.
So, and then we go to that sustainable party. The party
Right.
is also should be sustainable, that
Right.
we have a long-term
That's what you
association.
mentioned about like this renewable journey path, and then you talked about um, some of the path you've already walked through, some of the path you have to go through it, and you talked about shortlisting the developer part, right? Now, I know you're still to complete that path, but what according to you can be the burning problems while shortlisting it? Like, what do you think, like what needs to be solved, what can be the burning problem, what needs to be preempted and be ready about before you sign or before you move ahead? Like any thoughts that you have on developer shortlisting?
Sure. See, first, I would look at it this way,
Huh.
because many analysis can be different.
Right. Okay.
But I would look at it first is most important is credibility of the developer. If the,
Very good
if
point.
the developer is credible,
Right.
then
What do you mean by credibility? Break
credibility
it down.
is if the developer has got their way of governance, their way of
Right.
company,
Right.
their way of leadership, the
Right.
management team,
Hmm.
the type of projects they have done,
Hmm.
the feedback from their projects,
Right.
and the balance sheet, of course, the financials, of course,
Right.
what financials they do,
Right.
and their approach towards the project,
Right.
and customer feedback on them.
Okay.
So these credibility issue is number one on top of my mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Then after
Very
the
valid
credibility,
point. Right.
yes,
Hmm.
after this credibility comes techno-commercial, due diligence. Of
Right.
course, the two things which are very important for this type of a project is, of course, connectivity and land.
Absolutely.
So these is the next most important point is
Hmm.
you have to evaluate connectivity and land.
Right.
Whether they do have connectivity in that state, do they have their presence,
Hmm.
and what is the land bank that they have in their hand
Right.
to quickly execute such a project. So this comes as a second priority as far as I am looking at it.
Okay. Okay.
Third priority, of course, is the minimum supply guarantees. The third
Right.
priority, of course,
The
is
contractual.
the contract guarantees that and the performance post PPAs also.
Right.
How they are going to extend support.
Right.
What kind of the after the PPA is signed, how they behave.
Right.
You need to understand that part of the story very
Right.
carefully
Right.
as you sign the PPA, because
Right.
I have seen until
Right.
the PPA is signed, you are one.
Right.
Your face is one.
Hmm.
After the PPA is signed, your face will change.
Right.
So you have to see whether this kind of issues are there within the developer,
Okay.
how this developer will behave,
Right.
post and pre,
Right.
easy, mature enough
Right.
to have a long-term association,
Hmm.
or easy taking a short-term gain.
Right.
So these are issues which we have to be kept in mind as mature companies
Right.
before we sign off and go ahead with developers.
Very valid point. And what about, so the techno commercial is the last thing to look at, right?
So once we have come to these three, 4 things,
Right.
Then once these people, 2 or 3 people are there, whom
Right.
we have gone through these basic things.
Right.
Then go hard on techno-commercial.
Okay. Go hard means
Go
what?
hard means the best tariff rate that you can get,
Okay.
the best norms that you can get, whether it is 95%, whether it is 90%, what is the best for the company, how much the replacement they can give, what is the best replacement that is possible.
Right.
So, and what consistency they can give. Continuous consistency of power without
Right.
breakdowns, without downtimes.
Right.
So this is an area which we would like to look at very seriously once we come to the last stage when you want to give an order to the.
Right. Any challenges that I think that you face so far since you have walked this journey on renewable energy? Because people who will be watching this want to learn from you that any challenges that you faced and how did you overcome it?
See, one of the challenge, of course, when you said, we have approached some 49 people.
Okay.
And initially we got 3 people.
Right.
Response.
Right.
So when we said only 3 people, then we were also struggling. We were also asking you for contacts and you give us why
Right.
people are not responding to us.
Right.
So by taking a collaborative approach, I think we reached out to people and they have also come back.
Right.
They have also responded to us.
Right.
And then we have now seen about 11 to 12 responses which are coming out.
Right.
And we are trying to reach out to, even today, we are
Right.
trying to reach out to people,
Right.
understanding their problems.
Right.
And also sometimes our own teams,
Right.
which are saying, sir, we have to call so-and-so, we have to call so-and-so. We are open to it.
Right.
So having an open approach, having a collaborative approach, along with the consultant,
Right.
I think that is going to yield results.
Okay. So this is one.
ultimately
What is the
For
second?
the best solution to the company.
Okay.
This is one area we have gone ahead on. Second important challenge. So you would do a ranking system based on a particular methodology.
Okay.
Now anyone can question whether this methodology is right or that methodology is right.
Right. Right.
Now I don't have a methodology, whether I don't know which is the right methodology. So then what is the best way to go ahead is to either I believe in you as a consultant in the best interest of the company,
Right.
that you do the best ranking.
So
with
all the
best
challenges you
methodology.
have with consultant.
So this challenge we had with the teams. not
Okay, with the teams.
consultant.
Okay.
See, it is an internal discussion with the teams,
Okay.
not with the consultant. Consultant will give whatever is there. You will drive the whole approach, and you will give us ultimately you have to give a solution to us.
Right. Right.
But in the journey of getting the solution, are we on the right path? Some questions can come in the journey.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
As a senior leaders, we have to understand with maturity
Right.
whether is there a point in the teams raising these points. If there is a point which is coming up, then we should address it,
Right.
not leave it or put it under the carpet.
Right.
Discuss with you,
Right.
understand if there is any other method which is better.
Right. Right.
Or we go ahead, we accept it,
Right.
and I convince my team saying that, yes, this is the best methodology in the current circumstances. Let's go ahead with it. So this is another challenge that we can see. Now, as we come to the PPA stage and the final negotiation stage, then the developer challenge will come. That I can discuss with you a little later.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
those areas will come. Those developer selection challenges will come.
Right.
At that point of time, we will cross the bridge.
Raju sir, between Andhra and Telangana, right? Difficult comparison. But yes, if you have to compare only from the renewable energy perspective, which is the state would you pick and why? Tell me 3 reasons why.
See, of course, Telangana has just signed off a GO.
Okay.
But the time taken for Telangana to sign GO has taken a long time.
Ha.
Whereas the government in Andhra, I would give a little more marks. So
Okay.
I would
You will
prefer
give
that
more marks to them.
on that particular area.
Okay.
Second, government of Andhra had an open access policy.
Right.
It has been continuing the open access policy,
Right.
as a stable policy,
Hmm.
whereas in Telangana, it was not so.
Right.
So I would give additional points to Andhra.
Okay.
So I would go with Andhra, but for granules as a priority,
Right.
it is Telangana.
It's a Telangana. Okay.
So Telangana has got two reasons for granules priority, because we have most of the bulk operations here.
Right.
So our renewable energy requirement is also high. And the customers who demand the product carbon footprint lowering,
Hmm.
the external customers who demand
Right.
the products which we produce in Telangana.
Right.
So that was also high.
Right.
So the priority as Granules India, Telangana's power conversion to RE power is most important
Hmm.
as a first priority,
Right.
and second priority is for Vizag.
Right.
But as we have taken a decision of 2030,
Right.
100%.
Right.
So these priorities, today it may be there. By 2030, there is no priority. The entire organization should be green.
Raju sir,
Yes.
before we close this, I want your permission to do a rapid fire, and it will be like a fun rapid fire,
Okay.
and you have to like quickly answer in 5 seconds, not more than that.
Okay.
Are you in for a challenge?
Okay.
And it'll be fun. That's my promise to you.
Okay.
All right, so let's get started. So the first one is, what would you pick? Solar tariff of 2 rupees or power delivery in 2 months?
Somewhere in between.
No, it's a rapid fire. One. No in between.
So tariff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cost savings or renewable energy goals? What's your preference?
Renewable energy. Yes.
Okay. Policy or people? Biggest barrier to renewable energy growth?
Policy.
Okay. More important for India? Paracetamol or Wi-Fi?
I would say paracetamol.
Okay. Understood. One word to describe India's renewable energy future.
Excellent.
Okay. What would you prefer, Raju sir? E-meeting or physical meeting?
E-meeting today, in the context of today's technology changes, e-meetings are going to be as virtual as possible now.
Right.
And, it can be like what you are sitting across, you can see your face also across.
Understood.
So there is absolutely no issue on that. So
Understood.
e-meetings in future. And
Absolutely,
definitely AI
absolutely.
tools also which are coming in now.
Right. One motto that you stand by in your life.
Be strong,
Okay.
be clear,
Okay.
be honest.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. I really liked it. One word to describe your leadership style. One word.
Goal oriented.
Goal oriented. Okay. I like it. Dhoni type?
Maybe to some extent.
To some extent.
To some
Okay. Understood. One word that defines success for you today. What would you define success today?
I would define it as, what is my contribution to the society
Okay.
and my contribution to the professional relationship that I had with companies.
Okay.
What I have achieved, what value addition I make. To
So
the
value addition is a success.
Value addition is the success. So
Okay.
it is ultimately the value addition that you bring in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. Are you a book reader?
Yes.
Okay. So one book that you would recommend for every leader to read?
Goldrut's Theory of Constraints.
Okay. What does it talk about? One message that it gives?
How do you interact with people and machines to make sure you achieve the best out of it?
Okay. And when you say people and machines, like you're talking about machines here as AI or something else?
No. Machines in manufacturing and how constraints happen during the manufacturing and improving performance efficiencies of those machine performances through people.
Okay. Understood. Got
How
it.
you bring in value addition there.
Understood.
Yeah.
What is your biggest inspiration in life?
Inspiration
Is some personality, some event, some meditation, anything that inspires you?
Inspiration is my tennis.
Okay.
So I have to have my tennis every day.
Okay.
So unless if you don't go for tennis, then you don't feel that you are having a good day ahead.
You mean lawn
So
tennis?
you don't lawn tennis.
How many hours do you play?
Max 1.5 hours.
Every day.
Every day is the goal.
Oh, every day is a
Sometimes
goal.
it doesn't happen when you are in
Okay.
official duty or
Okay.
going out somewhere.
Okay.
It's happened whenever I'm in station, yes.
Okay, understood. If you could solve one problem in renewable energy space overnight, that's the word. What would it be?
Just simply put a goal saying on a particular date there should not be any other power except renewable power from tomorrow.
So renewable energy overnight.
Yes.
Okay.
Overnight.
What is more satisfying to you, Raju sir? Pay attention to this. Saving 1 million liters of water or reducing 1,000 tons of carbon? Tricky one, but I want to know your thoughts.
Water.
Water. Okay. All
Water
right.
is important to survive.
To survive.
Carbon emission, still people survive.
Right.
Whereas,
Right.
water, if it is not there, you can't survive. So
Absolutely.
anytime you should save every single drop of water in this planet.
Okay.
So it has to be that kind of a spirit that we should all have to save water, because water is a life source. Because even a CO2, still the atmosphere, the stratosphere, it will take the sink. There is a sink that is taking care, the CO2. But if the water is evaporating from this world and water is reducing, the future wars, the future wars will be on water.
Right.
People wars will be on water.
Right.
Like exactly today, we are seeing the Indus Valley.
Indus
Street.
Valley, yes.
And
Absolutely.
today it's an act
Absolutely.
of war. Already they are
Absolutely.
saying it is an act of war.
Right. Right.
So you are very clear. Water is going to be the future area that we should focus.
Good. Raju sir, thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
your
much.
time. 2
Thank you.
months
Thank you.
it took to find your date, but it's all worth it.
Thank
Thank
very
you so much. And you are like fabulous leader and gives a lot of inspiration.
Thank
It
you.
always, like you, the energy that you have, I was telling my team also yesterday, that vibe, that energy that you would get would be awesome. And thank you so much,
Thank you.
Raju sir.
Thank you very much.